Hey everyone, I'm Jessica, and I'm here today to talk about something a little bit different from what I usually talk about with solo board games. We're going to be talking about solo game books. In particular, I am talking about the Defenders series, which is a Lone Wilderlands game novel. Just to be upfront and clear, I was sent this copy for free from the publisher slash author to check out for a review, so that's what I'm doing. This is the hardcover version. You can see that that is a nice thick book with lots of pages in it. You can also find a PDF version of this. Game books in PDF form are just as great. I still prefer having a physical copy because I'm old-fashioned, but that's fine. So in terms of game books, a lot of the time, for me at least, these fall into sort of two different categories. You've got the ones that are very open-ended, where you've got tons of things to explore, you're going all over the place. Sometimes there's keywords involved in this so that you trigger different events. You can go back through and just experience different things going on depending on what you've experienced, where you've gone, what you've found, etc. One of the big examples of this would probably be Fabled Lands. That's not what this one is, but that's not a negative. The other type of game book is one that's a little bit more on the rails, but I don't mean that in a negative sense. It's just more that there is a story to be told that you get to experience as a character. There's some choices to make, and there's a lot of fun in terms of rolling the dice or making those choices and just following through and reading through and finding out what the author has in store. And that's what is going on here. One of the best parts of this, after reading through the rules at the start, you get thrown right into the action. There's no exposition here of the year is this, we're in this village, let me tell you all this. No. You are playing as Miri Oliva, and she is just right in the middle of action. And you are running away, and there's stuff going on, and you're just thrown right in, and you actually get to experience this world and find out more about it as you play through, making some decisions, and, of course, rolling against your different skills. This, I thought, was a really fun story, though, filled with lots of surprises. And let me just show you a couple of the pages to show you some of the cool stuff. There is a nice map at the start to kind of give you an idea of what this world looks like. You will follow along through that. I found myself saying, oh, here's where I am. I'm down here on the river. There are all different types of hero traits that fall into these different categories, and they're not just your typical ones. There's things like strategy and even thirst resistance. So a lot of things that aren't just your typical sort of skills. There's a lot of different things going on there. And what you're doing when you're rolling is it's a D20 system. You're trying to roll at or below your skill level. If you get that exact value, though, that is a mastery roll, and there's actually some cool stuff that can happen. So that was kind of cool to experience. There's combat and healing. That I had to kind of read through the rules a little bit. It's a little more mechanical than I expected, but, not the end of the world. It's me, by the way. I usually need to read rules a lot. But one of the cool parts of this are these civilization traits. So you track what's going on with these different aspects of the world as you are exploring, discovering things, rolling well or not rolling so well. And it actually has effects that are supposed to sort of affect the entire world. The cool thing here too is that I printed out the character sheet and copied it over. You do not need to do this though. There is a nice pre-printed one in the book that you can just follow along with. You're really going to want to do this if you're trying to follow through with all the different game books and keep track of everything, because a few things will change. But when I did this, I didn't expect to take as many notes as I did, number one. But I did that. And then I'm just trying to think the pre-printed part was great. I had something else I was going to say, but I apparently rolled a 1 on my my knowledge check. We'll come back to whatever I was going to say there. But as you go through, those civilization traits actually carry through the other novels. Right now, there are 2, and there's a third one that is being written and developed, which is really neat. I thought this was a great world to explore. There are characters you will meet, there are different factions that have kind of surprising connections. And even the overarching story isn't so obvious as you're going through. You might even find some allies along the way who might help you out. And that is just neat. My playthrough probably took around, 2 hours, somewhere in there, maybe a little bit less. You can play again. And then there are multiple different endings, but there's one specific ending that will follow through to the next novel, which makes sense. That's how a lot of these game books go. I did not run into any of those situations, though. The ones that I don't like are the ones that are like, oh, you went left, game over, you're dead. No, this doesn't have that. You will potentially have issues with combat and losing health over time, but that is pretty standard. If you're low on health, you kind of know the next combat's probably not going to go well for me. I, however, had a really cool ending part. I lost at first, I went back, and I ended up actually having a couple of mastery rolls that happened right in a row. That was really cool to kind of end that with, and set me up for following through to the next novel, or game book, what have you. But this one, I really liked the story. There's a lot of strong female leads, not just thrown in there, but they have backstories that you get to learn as you're going through. There's a lot more going on with this. And the cool part about this, too, is that it's part of the Lone Wilderlands sort of product line, I guess I would say. There is a solo RPG tool set that actually gets you that sandbox type style to create your own world to explore. I shouldn't say create a world. You have the world that you kind of get introduced to here. And then if you want to explore that more, there are the game novels, obviously, but then you can actually go through, have your own character. I am excited. I have not played it yet, but this got me interested in that. There is a standalone novella about elixir crafters. That one you're not actually playing as a character, but it's more of a novel where you're just reading through, but I am having a blast with that one. It has some great humor in it, and more surprises, and kind of just builds on this world even more. So that is one game book that I had a great time with. Again, this is the Defenders series, the Lone Wilderlands series. This was Throne of the Bandit Lord. And again, the author sent this copy to me for free to review. Thought it was great. And yeah, I will be continuing with this series, and hopefully surviving is always the number one thing with these game books. So hopefully you have a chance to play some of these Choose Your Path adventures. They're great, they're really fun, and there's some great stories to find out there. So as always, thanks so much for watching, and take care. Bye!